Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to sew this simple one side of shoulder collar neck shirt. So it's a very simple tutorial, very detailed and very easy to follow. And I achieved this style using only 2 yards of Ankara fabric and less than a quarter yard of crepe fabric. So if it's something you are interested in, keep watching and make sure you watch till the end so that you won't miss out on any information. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and also subscribe to my channel. So like I said earlier, I made use of 2 yards of Ankara fabric for this top, although I didn't finish it, and then a very little amount of crepe fabric too. So I have my ruler here, my chalk. So let's go ahead now to fold up the fabric so that we can draft it out. So we're going to be cutting the front and the back panels together, and I have my fabric in a fold of 2. So go ahead to fold yours, the front panel in a fold of 2 and the back is also in a fold of 2. So the back is not going to have any zipper because we're going to use the side seam as the zipper allowance. And then you're folding your fabric using the widest circumference of your body. So mine is my hip measurements divided by 4, and then I added 2 extra inches to it, making 13.5 inches. And then the full length of my top is 25 inches, and I added 1 inch to it for folding at the base. So this upper part is going to serve as my shoulder line, so I'm going to mark all my vertical measurements from that point. So place your tape rule this way and mark from your shoulder to your bust point. Mine is 11.5 inches, and from my shoulder to my waistline is 16 inches, and to my hip line is 23 inches. So I'll go ahead to just extend the lines this way. So go ahead to extend yours, and after doing that, I'll come over now to this shoulder line and then mark your shoulder to shoulder measurements divided by 2. Mine is 8 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches, and then from that point come down by your round armhole measurements divided by 2, and mine is 9 inches. So you and connect the 2 points together. So most times your armhole is always 2 inches above your bust line. So this is what we have after connect. So come over now to this armhole line and come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. After doing that, take the midpoint of the remaining part of the line. So mine is 4 inches, and then on this new line that you just drew, mark your round bust measurement divided by 4 and add 1 inch to it for seam allowance. So mine is 11.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to just form a curve this way to form my armhole. So we're only going to be marking the wideness of the neckline. So I made use of 4 inches. So mark 4 inches there and then connect it down to meet the 1 inch shoulder slope. So this is what we have after doing that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark out the front armhole. So remember, the front armhole is usually different from the back armhole. So I'm going to just come in by 0.5 inches and mark so I'm going to cut the back armhole first before I cut the front. So the next thing to do is to place the dart. So to get your dart line, divide your nipple to nipple measurements by 2. So mine is 4 inches, and I'm going to mark that 4 inches on my bust line, my waistline, and on my hip line, and then I'll connect all the points together. So guys, the next thing you want to do is to come over to these 4 inches you marked and take half an inch on both sides on the hip line and then connect it to meet the waistline this way. And then from that point I'm going to just slant the line down to meet the bust point this way. So slant it to meet that 4 inches on the bust points this way. And then after doing that, I'm going to still slant this point down to meet the hip line. I hope you guys understand what I'm doing. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So this is basically also, this is the part we'll be taking in as our dart down to that hip line. So the next thing to do is to mark the round body measurement, and on the bust line I'm going to place my round bust measurements divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches, and add 1 inch for seam allowance, making 11.5 inches. On the waistline I'll place my round waist divided by 4. I'll add 1 inch for my dart and I'll add my seam allowance, so I have a total of 11.5 inches there. And then on the hip line I'll place my round hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch for seam allowance, making 12.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to just mark it there, and then I'll connect all the points together following the shape. So follow the shape that you got and connect all the points together. So after doing that, let's go ahead to cut it out. We're going to start cutting with the back armhole. So let's go ahead now to cut it out, and I'm going to start with the back armhole. I'm going to cut out the back armhole first, and when I separate it, and then I'll take the front armhole. So after opening up, go ahead to cut out the front armhole, and this is what we have. So I'm going to transfer this that I have on the front panel to the back panel on both sides. I hope you guys understand. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to show you guys the next thing to do. So I've gone ahead to recreate the dart on the back panel on both sides. So another thing I did was to come over to this waistline and come in by 0.5 inches. Since I won't be having any zipper at the back, I still have to eliminate 0.5 inches on the waistline area of the back panels. So I connected it down to meet the hip line and also the bust point. So I'm going to be sewing in this part. So this is going to help my top sit very well at the back even without having zipper. So the next thing to do now is to form the one side of shoulder neckline. So I'm going to place them on each other this way, and then remember this is our neck width. So I'll come over to the armhole area and measure what I have all the way around it. So I have 10 inches there, and the midpoint of that 10 inches is 5 inches. So whatever you get after measuring yours, go ahead to mark it there. So I'm going to come down by 5 inches and then connect that 5 inches to meet my neck width on one side. So you're going to just go ahead and form a slant this way. Going to go ahead to form a slant. So this is what we have. So let's go ahead to cut it out. So before you cut out the neckline, make sure the wrong sides are facing each other or the right sides are facing each other, so that when you cut it out, the armhole is still going to be on the same place. If you put it the other way, you're going to have the armhole on the other side for the back panel. I hope you understand. So it's either the right side are facing each other or the wrong side are facing each other before you cut it out. So for mine, the wrong sides are facing each other. So let's go ahead now to cut it out. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So let's go ahead to open it up. So the next thing we want to do is to take in the dart for both the front and the back part. So I'm going to just go ahead and fold it up for you guys to see. So I'm going to take in this dart now. You can use your pins to hold it down before you stitch it down. So take it in this way and stitch it all the way down on both sides. So I'm doing this thing for both sides, and then I'll close up this back dart as well. So I'll repeat the same thing for the front panel. I'll take in the darts on both sides. So you're taking the darts on both sides. So mark your darts on both sides of your top. And then when I'm done doing that, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So after I took in the darts on the front panel, this is what it looks like. And I also took the darts for the back part. So this is the center that I was talking about. So this is going to make your top fit very well at the back. So the next thing we want to do is to place the front and the back panels right sides facing each other and close up the shoulder area using 1/2 inch. So I won't be closing up the sides yet. We'll cut out the sleeve first before we close up the sides. So let's go ahead to do that. So after joining the shoulder areas together, this is what we have. So let's go ahead now to cut out the sleeves before we close up the sides. And these are the fabrics I'll be using as my sleeve. So I'm cutting the two together and I have them both in a fold of 2. So I folded my fabric using my round armhole measurements divided by 2, which is 9 inches, and then I added 1.5 inches to it. So I have 10.5 inches here on fold. So from the upper part of my fabric, which is the shoulder line, I'll come down by 4 inches, which is my cap's height. And then from my shoulder to my elbow is 14 inches. Go ahead to mark yours, and this is the full length of my sleeve. Remember, my sleeve is going to be having an extra white fabric at the base. So the full length of my sleeve is 23 inches altogether. And then on this cap's height line, I mark my round armhole measurements divided by 2 and add 1 inch for seam allowance. And then on the elbow line, I'll mark my round elbow measurement, which is 14 inches, divided by 2 is 7 inches, and I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance, making 8 inches. And then on this lower part of my sleeve, I'll just subtract 1 inch from that 8 inches, making 7 inches. And then I'll connect all the points together. So the full length of the sleeve I worked with is 23 inches, but I have 19 inches here. The remaining part is going to be with the white fabric. So I'll go ahead to connect that 10 inches down to meet the edge of my fabric and just form a curve this way. So let's go ahead to cut this out. So let's go ahead now to cut out the sleeve. So I'm cutting the two sleeves together, as you can see. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'm going to modify one sleeve now as the off shoulder sleeve, so you can work with any one. So remember, we took 5 inches out of the armhole point that time. So come over to this curved edge of your sleeve and take out the same 5 inches. So just find a way to curve your tape this way and take out that 5 inches, and then just extend the line to meet the closed angle of your sleeve this way. So we're going to be cutting out this part. So this is basically all for the off shoulder sleeve. So the next thing we want to do is to close them up. So I'm going to just notch the center point of this sleeve. So we're going to be fixing the sleeve to the top before we close it up. So I'm going to take the point I notched. This is the full sleeve, and merge it to the point where I joined the shoulder areas together, and then I'll use my pins to just hold it down. So you can use your pins to secure it all the way down before you stitch it. But I'm only going to hold the center point with mine, and then I'll go ahead to just fit in the sleeve into the armhole area this way. You can see that it fits in perfectly. And then when I'm done with that, I'll come over to the other side and also fit in the sleeve into the armhole and stitch it all the way down using 1/2 inch. And when I'm done with that, I'll go over to the off shoulder side of my top, and then I would open up my sleeve this way and merge the remaining curved edge into the curved part of my top. I'll merge one side to it this way. Make sure right sides are facing each other, and then let me just open it up for you guys to see clearly. So this is the sleeve and this is the armhole opening. So I'm going to merge it this way, right sides facing each other, and stitch it down. And when I'm done with that part, I'll turn it over to the other side and place this part of my sleeve on the armhole this way and just stitch it all the way down. So when I'm done, so guys, after inserting the sleeve, this is what it looks like. So the next thing we want to do is to close up the side. So I'm going to flip it over to the wrong side this way, and then I'll merge all the sides together, starting from the sleeve. I'm going to just merge it together. So this is the side with the full sleeve, and I'm going to close it up using my 1 inch seam allowance. So starting from the sleeve opening, I'm going to stitch it all the way down to the full length of the top. So for the other side, I remember I'll be having a zipper on the side. So I'm going to close up the sleeve up to the point where I want my zipper to stop, just below the armhole area, and show you guys. So after closing up the sides of the top, this is what it looks like. And I've also gone ahead to fold in the base of the top. I folded in twice, as you can see. So the next thing we want to do now is to cut out the fabric we'll be using as the collar. So this is the fabric we're going to use as the collar. So the first thing you want to do is to measure what you have on your neckline. So start from one edge of the neckline and measure what you have all around the neckline. So make sure you do this accurately. Do this to get an accurate result. So after measuring mine, I have 39 inches here to the other side of the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out my fabric now to show you guys. So I've gone ahead to cut out the fabric we'll be using for the collar. It is crepe fabric, and the height of the fabric is 4 inches. I'm going to take 1/2 inch at the upper part and 1/2 inch at the lower part. So I'll be left with 3 inches for my collar. And I cut out two pieces because I'll be using one to turn over to the wrong side. So the length of the fabric I have here is about 42 inches. So I'm still going to cut out the excess that I have. It's 42 inches. So the first thing we want to do now is to fold the fabric. So place the two fabrics together. So I had to join my fabrics because the length I wanted was not, I couldn't get it on my fabric, so I had to join two pieces together. So the first thing you want to do is to fold it into two. So the two fabrics you cut out this way, place them together this way and fold it into two. Fold it into two this way, and then from this open angle, so make sure you arrange the fabrics very well. So from this open angle, I'm going to take my round neck measurement that I measured, which is 39 inches divided by 2, so that's about 18.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 19 inches there, and then I would come over to this lower part. I'll draw a straight line down and then come over to this lower part and come out by 2 inches. So this is going to be like the slant for my collar, to form the slant on my collar. So I'll take 2 inches there and then connect it down to meet that point. So I'll go ahead to cut it out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out that part this way. So by the time you attach this collar to the neckline, it's going to appear this way on the side. It's going to come out this way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to iron my stay to one side of the collar, just one side of the fabric. I'll iron my stay to it. So I'll go ahead now to stitch down this lower part of the collar. I'll stitch it all the way down. I'll close up the sides, but I'm going to leave the wider part opened because that is the part we'll be sewing to the neckline of the top. Close up the other side. So you're going to iron your stay to the wrong side of one of the fabric, and then I'll turn it over to the right side. So after I iron the stay on it and then turn it over to the right side, this is what it looks like. So the height of the band is now 3.5 inches. So when I attach with the remaining half inch to the neckline, I'm going to be left with 3 inches. So to attach the collar, we're going to start from one side of this sleeve. So come over to this off shoulder sleeve area and just notch the center point. So turn your top over to the wrong side and then go ahead to notch this part of your sleeve this way. So this is the point where we're going to start joining the collar to the neckline. So take one edge of the collar and place it on that notched angle this way. So this is the open angle of the collar. This is the points that we're going to attach to the neckline. And I'm just going to use my pins to hold it down. So the collar is going to go all around the neckline and meet itself at the same point. So I'll just use my pins to hold it down all the way. So you're going to join it together using half an inch. So make sure you arrange it very well while you are using your pins to hold it down. So after I used my pins to secure the collar to the neckline, this is what it looks like. So right, you can see that the edges of the collar is meeting at the same point. So at the end of the day, your shirt is going to appear like this on the right side when you turn it over. So what I'm going to do now is take it to my sewing machine and stitch it together using half an inch. I'll make sure I cross this edge together and stitch it all the way around it. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after fixing the collar to the neckline of the top, this is what it looks like. I also went ahead to notch the seam area before I turned it over to the right side. So I'll still go ahead to iron out the collar very well. So I've also fixed the remaining part of the sleeve. So my fabric is stretchy, so it's actually easy for me. But if you're using the stable fabric, you can just open it up and add your button and buttonholes to that point so that it fits perfectly. So this is the other side of my sleeve. So I only did it this way because my fabric is stretchy. So the last and final thing we want to do is to fix in the zipper at the side. So this is the zipper I'll be working with, and we're going to be using the side seam allowance as the zipper. So to insert the zipper, notice that this is the wrong side of my top. So I'm going to take the edge of the zipper, the upper part of the zipper, and put it at the lower part of my top this way, and just go ahead to pin it down. I guys can see what I'm doing. I'm pinning it to the seam allowance of the on the side of my top. So I'll pin it down this way. This is the wrong side of the top. And then when I'm done doing that, I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'll use my pins to hold it down, starting from the lower part of my top. I hope you guys can see. The upper part of my zip is at the lower part of my top, and I'll fold it in and stitch it all the way down on that 1 inch seam allowance. I'll do the same thing for the other side, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So guys, after inserting the zipper, this is what it looks like on the side of my top. So you can use an invisible zipper for yours so that it won't be showing this way. So this is basically all for this tutorial. So I hope you found it useful and I hope you've learned something new today. So this is what we're ending the video for today. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.